So we here
We
here with it.
Let's get it.
We live, baby. I love this, man. I'm telling you, I love it. I told you it was something different about this area.
The space.
Like, yeah, you feel
Switch
me?
the
It
whole
feels
space
different.
up on.
Yeah, switch it up. Yeah,
Probably that
you
coffee
got
dude.
it. On the mountain, man. Hey, we here with it. BMM PODCAST. You know, our content we produce raw and unfiltered content, man. And we here with another one with Imanuel. He gonna talk about how to repair and build your credit portfolio. So I can't wait to hear about what this man got to say. Been seeing him on a book. A few of my people that I know in my inner circle said some things about him as well. And let's see if the Blue app Blue app kind of hyped him up. You feel what I'm saying? So I want to see what he about. You feel me? You know how the Blue app do it. It just hype people up, man. So I want to see, just tell us your story and what made you get into the credit space and, just different things like that.
So originally, kind of unfolded from just being young, going off to college. And obviously, as you know, unless you're fortunate enough and got the funds to, then you got to get yourself out here and get into some debt so you can go to school. And so for me, that's how it was. I got some student loans, and then I got a first credit card because, I didn't have no job. I was playing ball, and I didn't really have no funds for real. So I got a credit card, wasn't really educated on how to use the credit card. So, just making careless mistakes like that. And then after I came home and really started, trying to clean up my credit and just kind of start diving into that space, like it just became, just more intriguing to me. And I just started getting obsessed with it, fascinated. So speed up time, paid for some business coaching and mentorship, and it just kind of exploded from that. And then I, worked on my credit first just to see if what I paid to learn actually worked. And it was actually working for me. So I'm like, you know what? Yeah. I think I could do this, you know what I'm saying? And so, I did it for some of my, close buddies and family members, working for them, getting results. So, took the next step, put the business together, and really just hit the ground running from there. So, yeah, man, I just know and understand how important it is to, have your credit. And I feel like that's the piece where a lot of us don't truly understand, because it's just like, if your parents didn't, have the financial literacy education or didn't really know about credit, it's just like a cycle that get passed down. So at some point we gotta break the cycle. We can't keep using that as an excuse to, my parents didn't know, so I don't know. Because then what's gonna happen is you're just gonna give that same excuse to your kids, and it's just gonna keep going on and on. And so for me, I felt like for me and my family, it stops with me. I gotta break the curse. I gotta get out here in this financial literacy space, understand how this credit thing works. And now the only thing whoever know me can say is, they can't say that I didn't put them on game or anything like that and teach them. Only thing they can say is I gave them the information, I taught them how to do it, I chose not to listen to them. But not knowing or anything like that, that's no longer an excuse with me and whoever knows me, because I'm flooding the internet with it. Whoever know me, they know, I stand on this credit stuff. So.
Yeah, you need to start that podcast. Sure. Yeah. One thing I want to talk about is that first credit card. You talked about, especially being in college, having no money, and then going to get the credit card, and then you said you made not so great decisions with it. I think that's good for people to know, especially somebody just going to college, what they shouldn't do, or, how they should utilize it. So could you tell us about the things that you did with it, and what you would have did, or what you should have did with it?
So first, man, I got the credit card, man, and I'm out here.
How much you get?
It was like a $300, because I had to get a secure credit card first, because
I
didn't really have no credit, so I had to get a secure card. And so,
Capital One?
Yep, it was Capital One. I had the Capital One, yep. And so I had the $300 secure card, and then I'm out here spending this credit card. I'm running it up on food. I'm going down the sheets and just stuff like that, man. And so first, if the thing that I want to say first is we got to understand what debt is for. So we have good debt and we have bad debt. So I feel like debt just got a bad connotation behind it. But there is a such thing as good debt. So before we go and put ourselves in debt, we want to make sure we going into debt for a reasonable cause. So I'll elaborate. So for instance, if I told you can go in debt right now for $5,000, but you'll turn around and make $10,000, I'm pretty sure everybody would jump on that. But that ain't how we operate. So how we pretty much go in debt, we want to go in debt for the flashy cars. We want to go in debt to get the houses and, just stuff like that. Now, house, it's not a bad move, but for me, I say go into debt for an asset, not a liability. So now I'm about to lose some folks right here. Just bear with me. I'm going to lose some folks. So some people might say a house, a car, whatever is an asset. Now it can be, but the way the majority of us get it is not an asset. So we got to break down how we defining the asset and the liability. So for me, it's simple. An asset is whatever is bringing you money. Liability is whatever is taking money away from you. So if you go buy a car and your car is to get you to work, I don't consider that an asset. The reason why is because if that car sits there and you don't go to work, is it making you money? It's not. You know what I'm saying? So it's more of a liability because you got to pay for the maintenance. You got to do the oil changes. You got all of that stuff. So it's more of a liability. Now, if you bought that car, not for you, but to literally put it on Turo, it is an asset because that car is specifically to make you money. So I don't know if y'all seen what I pulled up in. Did y'all see what?
Yeah, nah.
What you pull up in?
I got a 2004 Nissan Pathfinder out there.
Yeah.
So I got high limit credit cards. I got, the investment portfolios. I can go have me a up to date, whatever the case is.
Right.
But I choose not to because we got to learn how to play this game. And what I teach, I want to stand on what I teach. So I literally teach folks to not go out here and get, do all of that. I teach you to get out here and use your credit to, get stuff that's going to make you money. And so I'm just following exactly what I preach. We got a 2004 Nissan Pathfinder out there, man. But that's just a big thing, man. We want to get out here and use our credit to make us money. And that's why the business is AOW, stands for abundance of wealth. Because that's what credit should be used for. A lot of people scared of credit because they don't really understand how credit will change your life. So credit changed my life. I mean, completely. Like, when you really learn how to do it, it's just, how can I put it? Your lifestyle will be different. So, for instance, I literally don't use any cash. Like, literally, everything that I do is on credit. If I can't come spend credit, I can't come. Because everything is on credit. I need to be able to use my credit card.
Credit club.
Like, it's just that simple. But yeah. So when we learn how to, we gotta learn how to actually operate and do this thing. And so, for instance, like I explain it to people this way: if you see somebody with a Corvette outside or whatever the case is, do you think they paid $100,000 cash for that? Most likely not. And they probably got the $100,000 cash to pay for it.
Right.
But that's not what you want to do. Yeah. You want to leverage the credit. So that way you can take whatever money that you have and put it in other investments. So we just got to learn how to play the game, man. And that's really the biggest thing is don't go into debt unless it's for a reasonable cause, meaning unless it's going to make you some money.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's like the biggest thing, man. That'll save a lot of people from making
So kind of explain it to him. So like you said, you was just buying bullshit, maybe at Sheets or whatever on the credit card. And then like, is it just like to a certain point where you just got behind, you just like fuck it, or what? Like how did you? So how did it work out for you?
So it's like spending this credit card, buying food, all of this stuff. I even bought some video games when the new 2K and stuff dropped. Yeah. And so then at a point is you max your credit card out basically.
Right.
You max this credit card out. Now you get hit with all of this interest and stuff like that. You got to pay these folks this money back.
Right.
And so that's when it really clicked for me. And I'm like, I don't have it to pay back. That's why I've been using it.
Yeah.
And so the thing of it is with the credit cards, the biggest advice that I can say is we don't use a credit card in place of what you don't have. So if you got $300 in your bank account, but you see something that, it costs $600 and you're like, man, I gotta have it. You don't go use your credit card. That's not how you use it. You literally use the credit card in place of what you can afford, but you just want to put it on the credit card instead. And so, since we on credit cards, it's two important dates. Well, really one, but we gotta distinguish the difference between the two. So we have a statement date and we got a payment date. So your payment date is when obviously you gotta pay your full bill. That's not the important date. The date that you want to know is your statement date. And the reason why is because that's the date that trip people up and get people's credit scores to drop. So your statement date is whatever your balance is, that's the date that will be reported to the bureaus, and that will determine what happens with your credit score. So for instance, we want to keep our credit utilization under 10%. So if we got a credit card for $100, the limit is $100. By that statement date, we want to make sure that we bring it under $10 because let's say the statement date is on the 15th. Well, if you didn't use $50 of your credit card, by the 15th, you want to make sure that you get that $50 down to $10. Otherwise, $50 will get reported to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, which is 50%, which is crazy utilization. And so another thing is anytime you go over 30% credit utilization, an alarm goes off at the bureaus and you lose a lot of points. So that's why the general rule of thumb is to stay under 30%. But I don't teach that because that's still putting you in harm's way. You see what I'm saying? So I teach to stay under 10% because now you got that 20% deficit to play with.
You get what I'm saying? So we stay under 10%. By the statement date, make sure it's under 10% and you good, you golden. So how I teach it to the clients that come through my credit report program and just for beginners is get you a credit card and literally every month just buy you a bag of chips. Do this for a couple of months. Just buy a bag of chips and a soda. That's it. Because the thing of it is we want to get the credit card and we want to just start building a payment history. Building that report and having that stuff be reported on our credit cards. And then after you get comfortable, you start learning the system and learning how to use the credit cards, then you start getting more free reign on utilizing it however you want to utilize it. But starting off, literally, just buy a bag of chips and a soda. That's it. Because if you got a $100 credit card and you buy a bag of chips and a soda, that's under 10%. That's probably 1% utilization, that's perfect. So just literally do it that way, and then start learning the ropes, and then you can kind of start scaling it up and using it for different, however you want to use it.
How early would you recommend credit cards to those?
As soon as possible, because credit, like the length of your credit history is one of the biggest. It's the hardest category to satisfy. Although you do got a hack around it, which is becoming an authorized user, meaning whoever if you got a grandparent or a parent or a friend, somebody who got great credit history, they can whatever, yeah. So they can add you onto one of their credit cards that got good credit history, and they can get reported on your credit report. So basically, if I got a credit card that I have for 5 years, 100% payment history, I never missed a payment, and it got a $20,000 limit, and you came to me to be an AU, I can slap you on this credit card as an AU, and now this credit card for $20,000 5-year credit history, all one-time payments will show up on your credit report. So that's the only hack around that. But beyond that, it's just gonna be it takes the longest to build that credit. So I would say definitely get a credit card as soon as possible, but only after you learn how to use it responsibly. Because that's the thing. I got mine as soon as possible, but I was educated on how to utilize it. So I ran it up and did some foolish mistakes. But yeah, you definitely want to get it sooner than later, and then really just stay in sync with your statement date. Not really the payment date, because if you take care of the statement date, you don't have to worry about the payment date. Everything gonna fall in sync. So just be aware of your statement date. Make sure you're keeping a low utilization. And like I said, for the beginners that's starting out, literally just buy a bag of chips and a soda. Go get the hot flamers, go get the Fago Pop, whatever you get. Just get that, put it on the credit card, and then by the statement date, let it report, because you have to let it report. That's another thing that I need to touch on. When you're using your credit card, if you pay it off, because I know some people, they'll use the credit card and then the next day pay it off. But what happens is by doing that, it actually looks like you didn't utilize it. So although you did and you paid it off, you didn't give it a chance to report to the bureaus. So since you didn't, when that statement comes out, it's going to essentially look like you never utilized it. And so you'll never be able to get increases on your credit cards or anything like that, because you're not showing them that you're utilizing it. So when you get this bag of chips and this soda, wait until whatever your statement date is. So we was using the 15th. So if I got this bag of chips and soda on the 2nd, I'm going to wait till the 15th, I'm going to let it report, and then after the 15th, I'm going to pay it off, which is still going to be before your payment date. So you're not going to get hit with interest or anything like that. That's how you want to execute the move. Just simple. Like that, man. And just rinse and repeat. Don't try to run the credit card up. Don't use it for stuff because, I got to have them pair of shoes, them J's that drop. That ain't how we doing it. We literally buy the bag of chips, buy the soda, do that for a couple of months, learn the ropes, and then you just take off from there. Take off from there.
You should write a book on that.
You take off from there.
Complete take off.
Take off from there, man. That's it. And then, so it's the back end for it. It's a back end on it too. So, because I know some people, they really want to get the high limit credit cards, but we got to crawl before we walk. So doing that method is just to get you in the gate for you to learn how to utilize it. But now once we start talking about trying to get the higher credit higher limit credit cards, we got to flex our muscle. So with that being said, you have to max the credit cards out because they want to see that there's a need for a higher limit, but it's still a certain way to do it. So that's why I have you start there, because what's going to happen is you're going to start maxing your credit cards out, and you're going to still pay it down by that statement date. You see what I'm saying? So like, for instance, if I let's say we just use $100. My credit card is $100, right? So I'll use $100 of it, but then by the statement date, I'm gonna still pay 90 of it down, so that way when it reported, only report it to 10%.
Right.
So that's how you want to do it if you trying to get to the higher limit credit cards. But just starting off, like I said, we crawl before we walk. So just keep it simple and just start with the bag of chips and so just to keep.
So once somebody gets going, like you said, like what is kind of the process? Because they just not gonna give you the money, or they just gonna start giving you another credit card, or
Well, so literally that is really how simple it is. The majority of the time, how it happens is once you utilizing these credit cards after a couple of months, you making your payments on time, stuff like that. Some companies will give you an automatic increase. Yeah. Now, others you will have to request a credit line increase, and so you want to do your due diligence to check with whoever your credit card is with to see if they'll do a hard inquiry. Because what happens is like I know Capital One is one to where if you request a credit limit increase, they won't pull your. It'll be a soft pull, so it won't hurt your credit. Right. But yeah, the majority of them, they will just give you an increase after, you utilizing it, being responsible, making on-time payments and stuff like that. But then on others, you do have to kind of go in there and request your credit limit. Yeah. Now, for the ones that don't automatically do it, every 6 months, regardless, request a credit limit increase. Yeah. Every 6 months, you should be requesting a credit limit increase. Every 6 months. Damn. Every 6 months, you should be requesting one. As long as it's not a hard inquiry. If it's a hard inquiry, don't be doing that. Right, because you got to be getting hard inquiries every 6 months. Yeah. So, no. Only as long as they not going to do you a hard inquiry, every 6 months request a credit limit increase.
I got you. So, outside of credit cards, what would you say the biggest thing about credit?
The biggest
to you,
the biggest thing is going to be the payment history. So let's break down the. Well, first let's talk about the FICO scores and the Vantage scores. Yeah. So it's two different ends of the spectrum. Now I'm gonna make a lot of people mad with this, but it's the truth. Delete Credit Karma, man. Like for real, delete Credit Karma because Credit Karma, one, it shows your Vantage scores and it's not your FICO scores. Two, Credit Karma, it only has Equifax and TransUnion and not Experian, which is that third one. And then on top of that, Credit Karma is literally just a software or a company out here to, I guess if you want to say, play mind games with you. And the reason why I say that is because if any of y'all got Credit Karma, I know that y'all get a notification anytime anything happens. Mm-hmm. Oh, your credit dropped 3 points, or your credit went up and you like, man, how I just dropped stuff. So I feel like it's just a mind game thing. Right. So just save yourself the sanity, delete Credit Karma because it's not even showing your actual FICO scores anyway. So the FICO scores are the scores that 90% of banks and lenders actually utilize. Vantage scores don't really get utilized. Yeah. And so that's why you hear some people say fake scores. So it's not that it's a fake score, but it's just a different model. And most people are not going to look at that. So that's why some folks say it's a fake scores. But beyond that, how our credit scores is actually the FICO method, how your scores is actually broken down is 5 different sectors. 35% is payment history. So the largest piece to it is payment history. So we got to make sure we pay all of our payments on time every month. If you can, just throw everything on auto pay. But literally, if you miss one payment, you can lose like 110 points just by missing one payment. Right. So we gotta make sure we paying all of our bills on time. The next thing is gonna be 30% is amount of debt or credit utilization. So that's where these credit cards come into play. Right. And so that's why I say you want to get you a credit card fresh out the gate, because what happens is if you don't have no credit card, you leaving essentially up to 165 points on the table. And I'm gonna break that down for you. Okay. So and I'm gonna break that down. But you leaving up to 165 points on the table because you literally have nothing to report for that. So you gotta get you a credit card. But how we get the 165 points is, the highest credit score you can get is 850. The lowest you can get is 350. So you got 300. So you got 550 points to play with. Right. And so the thing of it is when you take 30% times the 550, that gives you 165. So essentially, if you don't have a credit card, you're leaving up to 165 points on the table. Right. So we gotta get us a credit card. So that's the second. That's the second piece. And then after that, we got length of credit history, which accounts for 15% of your credit history, or of your credit score. And that's the part that I said is the hardest to satisfy, just because we can't fast forward time. It's gonna take time to start building it out. And that's why the sooner you can get you a credit card, the more credit aid you will have, versus waiting, later down the line to get you one. Right. And then, like I said, besides that, the hack is to become an AU, which is an authorized user, but still that's not permanent. That's just temporary. Right. So, you just want to start as soon as possible after, really learning how to actually, do this credit stuff. So,
hold on, let's take it back to Credit Karma. So you say get rid of Credit Karma. Yeah. What is the purpose? Why do you think, you say you can't really utilize much off of there?
Because Credit Karma is a money grab. So we got to understand why I don't want to say a lot, but some of the stuff is all a money grab just so the company can make them some money. Right. So for
legal
instance,
scams.
If any of y'all got Credit Karma, if any of y'all got Credit Karma and they put on there, they recommended, you qualify for this credit card, or this is a good fit for you, and you applied and got denied. they setting folks up because you got to think they going off of a Vantage score, not a FICO score. So when they telling you that you qualify or you a good fit for this credit card, that's not true because it's not your FICO score. And like I said, 90% of the banks and lenders, they gonna look at your FICO score. So Credit Karma telling you, hey, yeah, go ahead and apply for this. And when you apply, you get denied. And you like, man, you just told me I'm a good. It's a good fit. I should qualify. And now you got this hard inquiry. So that's why I say just save yourself all of that mess. And just get rid of it. You want to get you an actual credit monitoring software, and so you can get the Experian app, and you can pay for. So if you get the Experian app, regardless, you're gonna have to pay for it. Any of this stuff you're gonna have to pay for it because it's your FICO scores. It's the score that actually matter. You ever thought to yourself, why is Credit Karma free? Because it's your Vantage scores, you know what I'm saying? They don't use that, so that's why it's free. But yeah, so you can get Experian, and if you get the free version of Experian, you'll see your real FICO score, but only for Experian. So to get all 3 of your credit reports with Experian, you have to pay, and I think it's like $21 a month. But then you got like Credit Hero Score, My Score IQ, Identity IQ. Like it's a lot of different ones that you can get out here. Yeah, to get, but yeah, you're gonna have to pay for it, and yeah, you definitely want to actually pay for some type of software to monitor your credit.
Yeah, because and the thing is, a lot of these companies like a Credit Karma, what they do is they're housing your data.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand that. So when you sign up for something for free, they pulling in that data, and that's why it's free, because now they're going to have people advertise on their platform. So that's why they show you, hey, your approval odds.
And then you get
different things like that.
Facebook.
Yeah. I mean, it's advertising model. You know, it's a business. At the end of the day.
It's all the money grab.
It's all the money, yeah.
It's all the money grab.
But we got to do the same shit. They doing it.
Right. No, facts.
Why not?
So I mean, another thing is you talked about good credit versus bad credit. Can you kind of explain? I know you talked about it earlier. You know what I'm saying? Going out, you getting the car, in the house. You know what I'm saying? Maybe being able to put it on. Is there other avenues as far as, you know, using the good credit, being in bad credit?
Yeah, so I'm going to unfold this, and I'm going to say it twice, because I know some people might not truly understand this up front. So it's not really about the credit scores, but more so about the credit report. So it's not about the credit scores, but more so about the credit report. And the reason why I like to emphasize on that is because I see it all the time in these groups on Facebook or just people making posts, and they like, I got a 750 credit score, why didn't I get approved? Whatever the case is. So the thing of it is like, when you go to get something using your social for credit, right? Do they just ask you what your credit score is and approve you or deny you, or do they, you know what I'm saying, pull your real credit report? I'm asking you.
Pull your
Exactly. And so that should tell you right there, it's not about the credit score. If it was just about the credit score, they'd say, okay, sir, what's your credit score? You would show them your app, and they're going to approve you, right? But it don't work that way. So they want to pull your full credit report, and that should let you know, okay, it's about the credit report. And so the reason why is like some folks might have a 750, might have a 700, and they're not getting approved is because, well, when we pull your credit report and look at it, it's thin. You might have one account, 2 accounts. You know, stuff that's not really a well put together credit report. So we want to put together a bulletproof credit report, and that's what actually solidify you for having a good credit report.
What does that look like?
So that looks like this: 100% payment history, not 99.9, not 99.8. We gotta have 100% payment history. Inventory items, anything like that. If you have them, you need to get them cleaned up. 3 years of credit age. You want to have at least 15 or more positive accounts, and so this can be all sorts of different types of accounts.
Explain that to somebody who might not know, like where to get the accounts.
Yeah, so the accounts, and we got a list of different positive accounts that you can get. But when it comes to these accounts, you can get like the self, you can get all of those things, but those stuff you can't just have that standalone, because those are like credit builder accounts. So you need those in addition to some real account that has some substance behind it. Right. So that's why you'll hear a lot of people say, go get you a car note or go get you some stuff like that. So you don't necessarily have to get a car note or anything like that, but you have like Credit Strong. With Credit Strong, they got like these installment accounts. And so really it's like a savings and builder's plan. So one, you saving money, but on the other end is actually building your credit, because the money that you're paying every month Credit Strong ain't doing nothing but taking that and reporting to the credit bureaus like you paying a loan.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it got more
yeah.
substance behind it.
Yeah.
And then with that, they got like different plans. You can do a year, 5 years, 10 years, stuff like that. So you just want to get all of these different accounts, and obviously it's gonna take time because you're not about to get 15 accounts in 1 month. You know what I'm saying? So this credit, it's gonna take time to really build it out. But yeah, you want to have the 100% payment history, no derogatory items. You want to have 15 or more positive accounts on your credit report, and then you want to make sure you have 2 or less inquiries. So 2 or less.
When you say 2 or less inquiries, what you mean?
So a hard inquiry. So anytime that you put your name down for someone, use your social, and they pull your credit report, that's a hard pull. That's a hard inquiry. And most inquiries
And then what's the soft pull?
A soft pull is when we pull your credit, or not we, but when the company pull your credit and they don't fully pull like the full report. They just put a soft pull just to see some of the stuff.
Yeah.
And so when they do a soft pull, it doesn't hurt your credit. It's not hard. It doesn't go into your credit as an inquiry. So you want to make sure you have 2 or less inquiries, and most inquiries are going to sit on your credit report for 2 years. Yeah. Although, we got the juice and the method to get them cleaned up in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But beyond that, in general, in theory, be aware because the inquiries, they can sit out there on your credit report for 2 years before they actually get removed.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's literally having a well bulletproof put together credit report. That's how it should look.
Gotcha.
To get out here and get, and with that credit report, you get approved for whatever you want to get approved.
Yeah.
That's when you go in there and say, you know what, give me that car.
Don't even really matter what the score.
And you walk off the lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That's what that look like.
So I hear a lot about, like, most of the time, it ain't no difference between an 850 and maybe a 765. Yeah. Like, you could possibly get everything a 765 could get, 850 could get.
So that is true. So most of the stuff, like, because it's broken down into sectors. So really, once you get over like that, I'll say really like that 740 years. Once you get above that 740, even though you ain't at no 850 or 800, you still just as golden as them.
Right.
So with the 850 and all of that, I feel like more of that is just more on the bragging right side.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, once you get over that 740, you can pretty much get anything whoever got an 850 can get.
Right.
That's
what are those things that get you to the 850?
I've been doing some studying on the 850 credit scores, and what I've seen is it's a very few people in the world who have it.
Right.
And one of the things I want to say that it said was that you have to have, I want to say like 15 or 20 years of credit age. Yeah. So and that's why I say the earlier you start, the better chance you got at getting that 850.
Right.
But the biggest thing is going to be the time for that,
right.
Along with obviously having the 100% payment history, no derogatory items on your credit report, and all of the positive accounts and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, one of the biggest thing for that 850 is going to be the credit age. Gotcha. You got to have like 15, 20 years or more.
Now we talked about like a lot of things, that's good for the credit. So say somebody doesn't have great credit, how can they find themselves getting out of those holes, or how? Yeah.
So if you don't have good credit, or you got erroneous or negative items on your credit report, you need to clean it up. And so how we do so is obviously the steps in between, but the general idea of how we go and fix up our credit is, first, you have to get you a credit monitoring account. So not the Credit Karma, but an actual software that you will have to pay for to get your full credit reports and Fico scores. And once you get that, you want to pretty much dissect it down. So the first section is going to be the PI, personal information. That's the first piece you want to clean up. And the reason why that's first is because accounts or any negative, positive accounts on your credit report is attached to information. Right. And so if we have an address on here that's from 10 years ago, right, on your credit report from 10 years ago, and we got this negative account that's attached to that address from 10 years ago, well, if that address is still sitting on your credit report, the likelihood of us being able to get that negative item removed probably slim to none. It can be done, but it's going to be hard.
So you saying like it could be tied to somebody else?
No. So like for instance, let's say the address is 2101 First Street, right, on your credit report. Now, let's say you got a collection sitting out there with Macy's, and it's tied to 2101 First Street. Well, if you're trying to dispute this account, but you still got 2101 First Street listed on your credit report, you're going to have a tough time getting that removed. Because they ain't going to do nothing but keep bouncing back and saying it should be there. Right. Because they just looking and they pulling it and they saying that address is on your report. Meaning, that should be there. Right. Now, when we go and clean up the personal information first, we get rid of that step. Yeah. So now, first thing, like I said, we're going to clean up the personal information. So let's say you go in, you get 2101 First Street removed. Now, when you go to attack this collections from Macy's, they can't see 21 First Street. It's removed from the credit report. And so that's why we start with the personal information, because the negative accounts, whether positive or negative, is going to be attached to it. Now, it is a twist to it. So the thing of it is like, let's say on that same address you got some positive accounts attached to it. Well, now you risk the chance of getting those positive accounts removed as well. So that's when it comes to either doing your research or getting with a credit specialist to see what makes the most sense. Does it make more sense to actually remove the whole address and potentially get those positive accounts removed as well? Or just leave that on there and just start building on top of it and just fight through it until it actually falls off. Because different states are different, but it's something called the SOL, which is a statute of limitation of debt. And so here in Ohio, the majority of stuff that's on your credit report by law can be on there for 7 years. That's like the standard. But I know in Texas it's 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So we got 3 years less. So different states is gonna vary. So if you're not in Ohio, you wanna check that out. But here in Ohio, I know it's 7 years for sure. So but yeah, that's like the thing. You wanna clean up the personal information first, and then we can start diving into the the negative items. And so I actually got it down, or I jotted some notes because I know I wanted to touch on it. But it's 3 different ways to attack and clean up your negative items on your credit report. So you got factual disputing, you got consumer law, and we got Metro 2. Metro 2 is one of the best methods, but it's more expensive. And what Metro 2 does is you pretty much put in the data furnisher, which is AKA whoever is reporting this negative item or collection on your credit report. That's whoever it is. That's the other term for the credit company or collection company. It's a data furnisher. And so when you use the Metro 2 compliance, you pretty much put in the data furnisher or collection company in the hot seat to see and check and make sure that they are actually in compliance and reporting stuff on your credit report lawfully. And so what happens is it goes through a system called the e-Oscar. That is the system when you go in to dispute anything. It's called the e-Oscar system. And so what happens is, e-Oscar. And so what happens is when you do Metro 2 compliance, it goes through the any disputes is going to go through it. But when you specifically do this method, it's going to go through and check to see if they're in compliance. And if they're not in compliance, then by law, the stuff either has to get updated to be in compliance or it has to get removed from the credit report. That's Metro 2. It's one of the best methods to get the stuff removed, and it's one of the ones that works the best. But like I said, it's going to be more expensive.
You think because of just a lot of things ain't...
Well, so it's statistically proven, and I got it down here too, but 79% of us consumers have incorrect or unverifiable information on our credit reports. Like it's statistically proven. I mean, we got to think about it. It's 3 credit bureaus and it's hundreds of millions of us who have credit reports that's coming through. You know what I'm saying? And so even when you unfold that to understand, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, they in the business to make money. They don't care what's correct and what's incorrect on your credit report. Anything on your credit report, they make money off of, whether it's correct or not. So that's why I tell folks, like, when we do this credit repair stuff, it's a process and it will take time. Let's say I dispute something from your credit report and I get it removed the first month. Well, if I come to you and dispute the stuff on your credit report, it might take 3 months. It's no science behind that. That's just how this credit repair thing works, because you got to understand, like I said, they in the business to make money. So of course they gonna try to hold on to whatever on your credit report as long as they can, because they making money off of it. They don't want to get nothing off of your credit report. So that's Metro 2. Then you got factual disputing. Factual disputing is exactly what it sounds like. Is it factually correct? So if, let's say, you got a loan out there that's the loan was $1,100, but let's say it's showing your credit report for $1,050. That is factually incorrect, because when you got that loan, it's $1,100. That's factually incorrect. So that's a method that you can utilize to get that removed, because by law, all information on the consumer's credit report must be 100% correct and accurate. It's law. It ain't me telling you. It's not my opinion. It's law. Nobody bigger than the law. I don't care who you are. So that's factual disputing, and then we got consumer law. And then we got consumer law. So consumer law is pretty much like what my team kind of really utilized the most. And what consumer law does is it literally just pulls the laws that are in place for us and attack the credit bureau, or attack the credit bureaus or data furnishers, and to get the stuff removed from your credit report. And so you can look up these laws. We utilize law.cornell. And so, like I said, one of the laws that I just quoted you was 1681. If you go look it up on, law.cornell. But that is the one where literally you can go look it up, 1681, and it's going to tell you all information on a consumer's credit report must be 100% correct and accurate. So, like I said, if you go on there and you know your loan $1,100, but you see $1,050, they just broke that law. that must come off. And so now you got to make sure you state the law. Another thing, when we disputing this stuff, don't dispute online, don't dispute on the app or anything like that. If you dispute online or on the app, you waive your rights. So now you can't utilize consumer law because you waive that right to be able to utilize consumer law. So we only dispute through the mail. And by law, when you dispute through the mail, they have 30 to 45 days to get back to you. Because I know some folks, man, it's some folks crazy, man. They'll come through the program, man. We'll send a letter off in 2 days. They like, man, anything come off? Man, come on, man, you gotta work with me, man. Like, it's gonna take some time for them to get back to us. But yeah, don't dispute nothing online. Don't dispute nothing on them apps. Literally send everything through the mail. You can dispute over the phone, but until you actually get, you know what I'm saying, like experience and really start learning and stuff, don't even do it because they gonna put you in a blender on certified. They gonna put you in a blender. So yeah, stay off the phones too, man. Just do it.
Certified mail.
Yeah, certified. So
certified.
So yeah, so the thing of it is, it's like you can pay for the certified mail. So like for instance, it depends what you dispute, and I'll say that. If I'm disputing personal information, inquiry, stuff like that, we not going to pay for certified because it's going to cost more. But if you disputing bankruptcy, stuff like that, yeah, definitely do certified. And the reason why you want to do certified is because it's a paper trail. And so it's a paper trail to show that they actually got you mailed the letter out, and it'll literally tell you when they received your letter and everything. And so you want to keep that paper trail because I'm going to put y'all on game to something else. CFPB. I almost lost my train of thought. CFPB. That is pretty much the boss of Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And so what happens is, as long as you got this paper trail and these folks still ain't removing the stuff from your credit report, you take it to CFPB. And now you got all your documents. Because remember, documentation beats conversation. Yeah. So if you got the certified mail, that's all the documentation you need. And now you go to the CFPB and you submit your complaint. And now you got all of the supporting documents to back you up. Why it should come off. You've been reaching out. The law states this, and they still haven't removed it. So that's, so I'm glad you did bring up the certified mail, because if you do that, and they haven't removed the stuff or whatever, you can go to Extra Mile and go to CFPB and attack it there to also get it removed as well. Okay. So yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. That was good information.
Great information.
Great. Ooh, man, you was going like a road runner, boy. Yeah, Time Warner. No wonder why we gotta have section. Shit. Yeah, couldn't keep up, man. But we got a few segments that we do. We want to drop a gem for the listeners. All right, so I'll start with one. Always be open-minded to new information, no matter what it is. Even if it sounds bad, you can find some good in that. I had to learn that because I have to constantly humble myself, even though I know a lot of information. But at the same time, I have to still be open to hearing other people's perspective and what they say, because they may have some insight that I may not even know about. So sometimes I tell myself, sometimes you need to shut the fuck up and just listen, and then you may get a gem, you can use it. You feel what I'm saying? You know what I mean, for the next person. So, but that's something for me.
I'll say my gem is, man, just have an end goal in mind, but make sure you have a purpose for why you do what you do. And please, y'all, please don't have the purpose be money. Like that ain't a valid purpose. So I don't know if anybody familiar with Inky Johnson. Y'all know who Inky Johnson is? Yeah. I did a 7-page essay paper on Inky Johnson when I went to my Division II school in West Virginia. But I listened to his motivational speeches and all of that. And one of the things that he said that stuck with me, and I literally quote this to anytime I'm having these conversations, I always say it every time. But he said something on one of his speeches where he said, the reason why most people quit or they stop doing whatever it is that they're doing is because it's just about them. So he said you gotta have a bigger purpose in life for why you do what you do. Otherwise, you're gonna hit something that's a lot tougher than you, and you're gonna flatline. And so to elaborate, we all got days where we don't feel like doing something. And if it's just about you, you'll be like, man, I ain't doing it today. I'll get to it. But if it's a bigger purpose for why you do what you do, it's not just about you. If it's, the kids behind you, you got family members that you're trying to do everything for, it's gonna have a little more substance to where I don't feel like doing it, man, I gotta get up and do it. It's just gonna hit a little bit different because it's not just about you. And so for me, everything that I do, like I know I'm gonna reap the benefits. I go too hard. But the stuff ain't about me, man.
Right.
Like, I do everything I do for, my loved ones, the family members, close friends, stuff like that. I'm trying to put everybody on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to reap the benefits,
Right.
but that ain't why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's certainly not about no dollar, Like, that stuff going to come, man. And, yeah, so that's what I'll say, man.
Yeah,
Just have a bigger purpose for why you do what you do.
Good, I like that. And I just want to bring up something that my pops used to tell me, and then also a guy who just passed away. He said to me one time, is if you don't take a chance, you don't have a chance. And me and bro was talking about this earlier, just about investments. It's all a risk. It's all a game that we playing, and taking these investments and learning about credit and investing in yourself, taking the risk and investing in yourself and learning this type of knowledge is really what's going to push you to the next edge. So if you don't take a chance, you don't have a chance.
Yeah. That's a fact.
That. Your pop said that.
That's tough. That's
That's
a
a fact.
Hey,
That's a
what? He sound like he infamous.
Yeah, what Michael Jordan say? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take, or something like that. He said. I mean, like, how you expect it?
Hold on, we gonna do it towards the end.
But it's like, how you expect to, make some shade and really put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there.
We got another segment. It's our healing segment. What are some things that you want to heal from, and how are you proactively going to tackle them? Now, some of these segments that we do are for you as well. It's something that y'all want to think about. But for me, I'm going to continue to do some yoga. I did sleep. I did a sleep apnea appointment. I did what is it called? The where they detoxing the colon cleanse. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
like Kendrick. Yeah. So just continuing to do that and continuing my therapy, man. I think that's one of the most important things ever, man. It's just, I think having like that third party, somebody that you can go to and be like, look, man, this is what I'm going to. Hey, I tell him like, man, me and Eder got into it. I don't like what Eder said. You know what I mean? I can go to my third party and tell him that. Like, and I think that's just so important. Like, I just told a few of my friends and my brother, like, bro, just get you a therapist, man. Just have somebody, because you may not be able to get to me. You feel what I'm saying? Or you may not be able to get to your mom or whoever, your girl, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, heal yourself and quit putting your trauma on other people.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I agree, man. I'm big on I like to call it a AP, which is an accountability partner. And so, like me going through my, the business coaching and mentorship, I got one of my guys. I'm gonna shout him out, man. His name Vontae Brown, man. And he in Alabama.
Vontae Brown.
And so we both went through, the same business coaching and mentorship together.
Yeah.
And he in Alabama, so we both started up the credit repair businesses and stuff like that. He doing his thing, man, and we stay connected. So
it's more of a virtual relationship.
Yeah. We don't even know each other in person. We never met each other in person. But literally, just from going through the same business coaching mentorship, and we both keep each other on our toes. Like, if he learns something different, he let me know. If I learn something different, I put him on. Like, we kind of just help each other along as we go. But it's just dope to see. Like, man, we don't even know each other in person, but just kind of like the way that we support each other is just dope. And so, like, people always say like, what is it? I can't remember how they say it, but they say it's not the people that you know that's gonna get you. It's gonna be the strangers. The strangers is gonna support you like no other. Like, you know what I'm saying? So not taking away from none of the my close family members, because they support me and stuff like that. But that's just big because we don't even know each other like in person. But like we all, you know what I'm saying? We keep each other on our toes, and so just having that AP, that accountability partner.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I be ad-libbing. I said we all eat.
Yeah, facts. But I'll say the thing for me is I'll say I need to work on what I'm about to say. It might be crazy to y'all, but
That's cool, man. We in the man cave.
I gotta
good.
I gotta work on feeding myself, man. I literally be so locked in, man, where I go the whole day and I ain't ate. Like no exaggeration. Y'all know what I ate today? No. 2 Buskin donuts, man.
Oh,
like
that's horrible.
But I just be so locked in, like just studying, research, like just learning stuff in the business room, just being so locked in that I won't eat. And it's really like as I'm going through it, I won't even be hungry. Like it don't set in to me until later when I get done what I'm doing. Like, damn, I'm hungry. And my fiance, because we engaged now, but my fiance would tell me like, appreciate it, man. She'd tell me like, well, did you eat? And I'm like, no. She's like, okay, well, you need to go eat. But I'm just like, but it's just so hard for me. I just be so locked in though, man. But I gotta figure out how to.
Now you just got a meal prep, bro.
Yeah.
Like you just got a meal prep or have some small little snacks or some water by your side or a smoothie or something.
That's really what's important. You know, your health over everything.
Health
You
is
know,
wealth.
you talk about don't do it for money. You know, you got to understand certain things that you have to do. You know, to take care of yourself. Because if you ain't there, it ain't gonna run. You feel me? So I definitely think that's important.
Engine with no oil.
Yeah, facts. I don't know, man. I'm wired different, man. Like I literally, I don't. That's my people tell me. I'm telling you though. I'm telling you, like my people say it all the time. Like, man, I don't know how you do it.
How you do it? Yeah.
How you do it?
But you know, I feel because. You know, I listened to this guy, Patrick Bet-David.
I'm hip to him. I actually used to sell life insurance myself.
Yeah.
And so he got the whole PHP.
Yeah.
So I actually was in PHP.
You listen to him talking about how he was running that many hours and doing all that shit, and then eventually it catch up to you.
Yeah.
You feel me? It ain't about, you know what I'm saying, what you doing on a daily basis to, you know, say, okay, I'm cool. I ain't even eat today. I ate 1 or 2 times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Eventually, that type of shit catch up with you. But I feel like, yeah, you working hard and all that's cool, but you have to be able to structure your life to put what's important. And like I said, without you, it ain't gonna run. Without your health, it ain't gonna run. So yeah, you putting all that work in, but if it catch up to you, then ain't no work. It ain't gonna be no more work to be put in. So, you know, not to harp on that, but Patrick.
I like constructive criticism, and I love it.
It's definitely somebody. You know, he definitely somebody that taught me that. It's something I learned. You know, like all right, and that's exactly what I was gonna bring up, man. Things in my life have been just so, you know, on the go and, you know, business like, but I think it's more time to take time to smile and be happy. And just look at shit that's funny, you feel me? And be around people that can make you happy or make you laugh or, you know, it's that time. And, you know, to be honest, I've been around a lot of death lately. And I'm coming to terms with understanding that's just life, you know what I'm saying? We gonna all go through that. But at the same time, it's like we need to smile. We need to be happy. And I do believe, whether it's a thing that's just psyching me out, you know, the higher your cheekbones are when you smiling, yeah, you feel better. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it give you more confidence in things too. So, you know, smile and be happy. Take time to do that daily, and that's something that I'm doing. You know, just to, you know, reevaluate things, or not to reevaluate, but you know, it's just like a cure, type thing. So yeah, smile, be happy,
smile.
Joker,
the
robot.
All right, let's get into these questions, man. This the last thing. That we gonna do that, and then shout out to Black Owned Business. But we got some people that's tapping in with you, man. They love it, man. They love you over here on the tube, man. We got like 20, 30 people on the chat, man. That's what's up. All right, so let's see. First question. Where we at? What's the best game for credit repair? I think you answered that, right? Already. What's the best game for credit repair? I think you answered that, right?
What's the question?
What's the best game?
Game?
So I guess it's like my best advice or something.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
So first, this credit thing is literally I'll say it's a skill, if you will. So take the time to really learn it. Take the time to actually, you know, like put time aside to really learn this whole credit game, because it's gonna change your life. So I'll say that's the first thing, to properly learn this thing. This.
Could you break it down? Like where should somebody like that start? So somebody might not know. Like when you say start learning.
So I mean, one of the things that's out there. So first, you got, I mean, one of the main things is YouTube University, which is the college where you don't need no student loans, no nothing. It's free. Although you know that this the thing. So information is gonna change your situation. So we gotta understand. At some point you are going to have to pay for some information. That's just a fact. You're gonna have to pay for some information. So I'll say start at YouTube, just doing your research and learning stuff, and then, you know, start tapping in to whoever you feel like is trustworthy, and actually start investing to learn the information from them. Because at some point you're gonna have to pay for some information. That is a fact. Because people are only gonna give you so much for free. Right. Like that's it. They just only gonna give you so much for free. So
just tap in with your boy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. We got you know, we got you, man. We got so much stuff. Whether you come through the credit program, I got the courses for you. I got an ebook out there. Like we loaded. We loaded.
Man, you universal. All right, can you explain the difference between credit lock and credit freeze on Experian? I guess for all of them.
Yeah. So your credit. So if you do the credit lock, what's gonna happen is you pretty much are not gonna get any notifications or anything like that as far as the changes and stuff that's going on with your credit. When you do a credit freeze, what's going to happen is you are going to freeze anybody from being able to pull your credit report. So if you do a credit freeze and you go apply for a credit card or you go apply for this apartment, understand you will either get denied or you're going to have to freeze the credit report in order for them to successfully pull it so you can get approved. So that's really the big thing on that. So I'll say if you know that you're about to utilize your credit, utilize it for something, don't freeze it, or just make sure to unfreeze it. But if you know you don't plan on utilizing it no time soon or anything like that, you can go ahead and freeze it. But like I said, you just want to make sure that you remember to unfreeze it whenever you actually go out here to apply for something. So that's the big difference between the two.
Yeah, and all it does is really just restricting access
Yeah,
from people that obtain your data. That's pretty much it. Unpaid medical bills reported on one's credit report.
Yeah. So yeah, if the company sends it into collection, then yes, it will show up on your credit report. It will.
Yeah, but I know for Fico Score 9, that medical collection that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, and so because you got different FICO, like you got the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and so
10.
The thing of it is you just want to be aware of it because depending on what it, like if you're getting a house, a car, whatever it is, people are gonna use different FICO methods.
Right.
And so it might not be showing on the FICO 9, but if they using FICO 8, they gonna see it. So you just want to be aware of that and just kind of know. But so yeah, if you don't pay it and it gets sent into collections, yes, it can show up on your credit report and you need to get it removed.
A lot of people was asking what's your name and name of your business. Hey y'all, I'm gonna put his stuff in the chat because a lot of y'all people asking, and I'm gonna tag y'all. So I got y'all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it in there.
But Imanuel Brown, man, and we got AOW Services, which is the credit repair business, and then we got ELTE Financial, and that's the digital products where we got the courses in there for you, self-paced lifetime access to them. We got the ebook in there, and we got different, like letter templates and stuff like that that you can, utilize to kind of start working on your credit if you want to do it yourself. So yeah, it's lit.
Yeah. All right. Do we got any more questions? Let's see. Or the Black Therapist in Cincinnati. Okay. Blah 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 blah.
I got an answer that I know a lot of people be asking me about. Folks be asking me, okay, I got this in this charge off or whatever the case is. Should I go ahead and pay it and stuff like that? So if you got something that's charged off or in collection or whatever the case is, my advice to that is if you gonna pay it, first ask for get them folks on the phone and see if they'll do something called a pay per delete. The reason why I say that is because once it hit collections, it's already negative. So if you pay it off, it's still gonna be negative. And so the thing of it is get them folks on the phone and just pretty much let them know, hey, if I go ahead and pay this collection in return, can you just remove that from my credit report? Some will, some won't. If they say yes, don't take yes as the answer. Let them folks know, okay, send that to me in a letter, please. You want it in writing. You want it to show up through the mail. And the reason why you want to have it that way is because, like I said, documentation beats conversation. So if at any point after that and they put it in writing and you go ahead and pay it and they don't remove it, now you can, take them to, court or whatever the case is, and now you can get some money out of them because you already have it in writing. So that's the biggest thing that I'll say is if it's already in collection, hold the horses. Before you go and make that payment, see if they're going to do a pay per delete. And then if they're not going to do a pay per delete, get with somebody to take it off because if you pay for it, it's still going to show up as negative.
All right, and then last question, y'all, and then we up out of here. Okay, that's a statement. What steps does one take to have your utility bills and rent payments reported to the credit bureaus?
So, utility bills and what else? Oh, rent payments. Oh, okay, perfect. So I actually partner with a company called Rental Karma, and so you can use my discount code to get you a discount for it or whatever. So the code is just going to be AOW Services, but Rental Karma will actually report your rental payments to the credit bureaus, and so they'll actually go back up to, I want to say, 2 years. So like for instance, if you've been at an apartment complex for 3 years, they'll take those past 2 years and slap all of those on, payments that you made for rent. They'll go and slap all of that on your credit report. And so now what happens is you got 2 years of credit age and all of those payments showing onto your credit report. So I always recommend whoever is out here paying rent, if your name on that lease, go ahead and get it slapped onto your credit report. And even if your name's not on the lease, it is a hack around it. The hack is now look, it's always, come on man, we in 2023. Come on, y'all gotta know it's hacks for everything. So if your name not on the lease, what you can do is have somebody, you gotta be getting mail at this place though. Have whoever name is actually on the lease, put it in writing that you pay them rent. And if you get that in writing, you can still get that stuff reported on your credit report. So whether you own a lease or whether you're not, as long as you're getting mail at that place, you can still have that rent being reported on your credit report, and that's through rental karma. Man, I'm messing it up. What is it?
Level credit?
No, not credit. What the hell is it?
Just put it in the chat.
Okay, and for the utility bills though, you can either go through Experian and do what they got. It's called Experian Boost, and so you can go through Experian and do Experian Boost to have your the Duke bill, phone bills, all of that stuff get reported. And then I know it's a few other, it's some different apps out there. You got Grow Credit. It's a few different ones out there.
Grow Credit, Level Credit.
Yeah. But Experian Boost is gonna be one where you can do it for free and you don't have to pay that. Get your Duke and stuff report on your credit.
Well, that's it. Last segment, man. Let's shout out a business that y'all enjoy. I'm gonna say my boy Big J's, man. I still ain't been there yet. Gotta hit him up, man. Big J's.
How you enjoy it then?
Shoot, I enjoy it. I just think about it, bro. I keep thinking about it. I never pulled up. I just keep thinking about it. Like,
we pulled up.
Big J's, man.
Shout out to Big J's.
Shout out Big J's.
I'll say, are we talking about local black business or just black owned business?
Yeah, just any.
I'll say, I'll say like maybe two. I Am Athlete, which I don't know if y'all know about it, but it's I Am Athlete, the podcast, and the other one is The Pivot. And the reason why I say both of those is because, man, I done watched them guys actually play in the league, but to see how they are outside of playing football and not just talking about football. When they on these podcasts, man, these guys is talking real business talk, real life talk, and really putting people on game and giving you advice for like real life stuff. So I love them podcasts, man. They talk real life, real life stuff. So I Am Athlete and The Pivot.
And I will shout out Taranga since I had some go just the other day. It was fire. Taranga restaurant. Yeah.
Hey, and shout out to all y'all for tuning in, man.
Thanks, man. We appreciate y'all, man.
We got the end of the stream. So go ahead and support the BMM podcast on Facebook, Instagram. We already on the tube. So in the next 2 weeks, we're going to have Ebony Berry. She's going to show us how to open up a hair salon. So stay tuned for that. And we out like that.
We out, y'all.
Yeah, we lit. Appreciate y'all, man.